They've continued to work and grow and implement their program and are setting the foundation for what they want to get accomplished here over the next couple of seasons.
I think one of the most intriguing teams this offseason is the Miami Dolphins.
The Dolphins have the capital to do whatever they want.
They're competing and building a culture.
I believe in team. I would say that. If you want to strive to do something great as a group, you got to work together.
You have a plan, you stay true to the plan, you execute the plan. The Dolphins, this is how you turn around a franchise, like this.
We're trying to build a team that's going to win right now, and we'll be very aggressive.
Welcome to the field, your Miami Dolphins.
We're looking for guys who are tough, who are smart, who are competitive, love to play.
They have landed some big fish. Love what the Miami Dolphins did. You're trying to build something there.
Patrick throws to the end zone. It is Parker. Darnold never saw the pressure coming, and he is leading. Siki wide open. Touchdown.
Let's have some fun and play together, man. Win on three, win on me. 1, 2, 3, win.
If you can get a group of young men to band together, to believe in one another, to practice and prepare at a high level, then you'll win ball games.
Big man, touchdown, picked off by Bobby McCain.
Guys, breaking news has literally just come across the wire. Devon Godchaux is the next Dolphin that has been placed on COVID reserve. It literally happened maybe about 3 minutes ago. That's why I've gone live. EM isn't even backstage yet, but I wanted to be all over it. Yeah, guys, now we've got Godchaux in his last year of his contract, getting hit with the bug, it looks like. Hopefully not. Hopefully he just came into close contact with someone. But, yeah, guys, I'll bring it up for you right here. Just get rolling there for you guys. There it is. You guys can read it for yourself. Devon Godchaux, as of Bear Jackson just a few moments ago, as a 417. Devon Godchaux goes on the COVID list, guys. And we'll get into Albert Wilson when EM happens to join me. But, guys, this opens the door. I just tweeted out, opens the door for a guy like Benito Jones, man. Here we go. I hope everyone's ready, man. Perfect. This is your time to shine, young kid. This is your time to shine, boy, that me and EM put everyone onto even before the draft. So, man, thank God hey, I'll be a bit facetious here, brother. Thank God they ended up listening to our nose tackle scheme fit big board, bro, because they got Benito Jones sitting right there with Devon Godchaux going down, bro. What are your thoughts?
Man, first off, I hope it's, my concerns and thoughts go out to Godchaux, man. I hope everything, he recovers from this, whatever the nature of, whatever reason they put him on the list for. I hope he just gets, he recovers, and it's a, he recovers, at a fast pace and gets back to the field and gets back on the active roster. But this is definitely an opportunity for that kid, for Benito Jones. You just highlighted. He was a player that we both had our eyes on for quite some time last year, and we thought that he would definitely be a potential target for the Dolphins in the draft. But yeah, huge opportunity for him to show what he can do, and hopefully he takes advantage of it. But at the end of the day, you just hope your heart goes out to Godchaux, and hopefully he gets back soon.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. A lot of people are flipping out right now in terms of on social media. A lot of Dolphin fans are just saying, just ended already, basically, in result to the season. Where do you stand on? I mean, this is obviously going to keep happening. Is there going to be a point where even you sit back and say, okay, this is getting ridiculous?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you see multiple players, being exposed to COVID-19 and placed on this list. I mean, yeah. I mean, it comes a point where, if it gets, and not just the Dolphins, but a lot of teams. I mean, if it just gets to the point where, more and more players are, becoming exposed. I mean, I don't know what number you assign to the point where you can say, well, this is not working, scrap the season. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where that is, but yeah, I mean, it's concerning. It's definitely concerning.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, we'll get into Albert Wilson in a second here, but I mean, that's one position, the good thing about Albert Wilson. I mean, well, the one positive I'll say with Albert Wilson and both Allen Hurns opting out is our depth at that position. But the problem is that nose tackle, we're pretty thin, especially on NFL experienced guys, right?
Yeah. And that was my primary concern, coming into the season. If there was ever, a position on our defense that I thought, that I was most concerned about, it would have been that nose tackle, zero technique position. But but again, hopefully, Godchaux's not, his he won't be gone for too long. He'll come back at some point sooner rather than later.
Yeah, man. So just guys in the comments, just feed EM some questions here. I actually got to go grab my charger. I jumped the gun a little bit, and my computer's gonna die. So give me literally 1 second. I'll be right back.
Fins Nation, what's good? I hope everybody's doing all right, man, and hope everything is good with everybody. Rhino, Ian, looks like Hollins may make the roster now. Man, this definitely not only Mac Hollins, but this applies to all of the wide receivers. The fringe wide receivers. It's a good opportunity for all of them. Your Mac Hollins is obviously your Kirk Merritt's, Matt Cole's, even your Isaiah Fords of the world, all the fringe wide receivers. It's a good opportunity for them to step up and prove themselves. So hopefully Mr. Hollins takes advantage of it, and that way I can get on here and play my song "Returning to Mac" and do my little dance and have everybody that's been hating on him eat a little crow. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for a lot of wide receivers on this roster. Hopefully, you know what, though, to be honest with you, in terms of Albert Wilson's position, hopefully I would love to see Jakeem Grant step up and flourish in that role, because I think he has the ability to do so. Obviously, he has the long speed, but he has the ability, his change of direction, is I think he excels in that area as well. So hopefully his durability issues aren't a concern this year, and he can stay on the field for 16 games or, a good portion of the season. But I would love to see Jakeem Grant, step up and assume that role.
Yeah, I think everyone would like
Troy Hicks, do you think we will pick up a free agent receiver? Me personally, I talked about this even privately, a couple hours ago. Me personally, I would make a move at this point because I just want to see what we have, see if somebody steps up and assumes that role. But in the event somebody goes down or goes on, or somebody else is placed on this COVID-19 list, I would look to make a move at that point. But as of right now, we're sitting here talking about it right now. No, I wouldn't make a move at this point. I want to see what we have, man.
No, I agree with that. 110%. Okay, let's get into Albert Wilson here. So Albert Wilson, the news started off today. with Albert Wilson opting out for the season. And Albert Wilson said, not an easy decision to make. I've decided to opt out this 2020 season. It was a very tough choice, but since the day I started playing the game, it's always been faith, family, football. Because of this crazy time, I chose to put my family in the best situation I see fit. I will stand by my teammates and brothers to support them 100% throughout the season, and will be counting the days until I can join them again. One love, AW3. Albert Wilson III. Second. Albert Wilson II. So where are you at with this whole situation, bro? Because I know privately we talked that, they probably should have just, now looking at the situation, they probably should have just cut bait, because he probably will get cut next season. That's probably the end of his tenure. And guys, I don't want to say read too deeply into it, but if you go and read Brian Flores' statement when Alan Hearns opted out, it's a lot longer than the statement that Albert Wilson got from Brian Flores. It's obviously supportive because no one is going to put down a player. What's up, Darth Vader? But the thing is, you could tell they made him restructure so they could fit him in, only for him to opt out. That could have been, it's not even so much about the money. If they would have known, if he would have just got cut bait, they probably would have replaced that body in some way, shape, or form in free agency, or they would have made wide receiver a bigger priority in the draft. And they might not have passed on someone like James Prochet when he was sitting there, and we instead took Blake Ferguson, the long snapper from LSU, because James Prochet is a very explosive. If people go back, he was one of the players I wanted on day 3. You can go to my Twitter every day. When it started off, I would say, hey, this is the player I want today. And James Prochet was on that list. And I was saying that guy's name multiple times before the draft even happened. And he ended up going to the Baltimore Ravens, which is crazy because him and J.K. Dobbins would have been perfect fits for this, but they ended up in the Ravens. But anyways, this could have been, that body could have been filled a little bit more. Now the rumor coming out, I'll bring it up here for people to take a look at. The rumor coming out right now, bro, is Malcolm Perry to the slot.
Man. Wow. I could have sworn I heard somebody mention that on this platform about 2 weeks ago. But I've been, ever since we selected this player, my vision for him, I thought that, if you're talking about his skill set, I thought maybe that might be, as far as him getting on the field early, I thought maybe that would be the position for him because, again, he's limited in terms of his long speed. But you look at this kid, how he is, how shifty he is in confined spaces. His change of direction is off the charts. His acceleration in the open field is very, very good. I think he plays a lot fast. We talked about this before in his evaluation, but when you look on tape, his acceleration, his play speed, is on the field speed, is a lot better than what he tested in, at his pro day. So I think his skill set translates better to the slot. And I said, I see a lot of Wes Welker comparisons. I see a lot of Julian Edelman comparisons. So hopefully, not to say that this kid immediately is going to be or ever turn out to be the player that Wes Welker or Julian Edelman, were or are, but you can easily see the comparisons. And again, Brian Flores, 15 years in that organization, had up close and personal experience with Edelman, with Wes Welker. So you can see why they would target him. And even if Albert Wilson was still on the roster, I still think this was a strong. I think this is the route they were going to take in terms of implementing him early on. I thought this is, again, for him to get on the field immediately. I thought that would be the role that he would need to have.
So this is what Barry Jackson said in his article today. He said, Dolphins 7th round pick Malcolm Perry, the former Navy quarterback, is being listed as a running back, but has the skill set to become a slot receiver. And the team has asked him to learn the slot receiver position, according to a team source. The Dolphins are expected to take a look at him at both running back and receiver. And Navy offensive coordinator Ivan Jasper said Perry reminds him of Julian Edelman and Antoine Randall L., two former college quarterbacks who excelled as receivers in the NFL. And then he goes on the list here among external options: Tavon Austin, Jarius Wright, Taylor Gabriel, Jordan Matthews, and Chris Hogan. And the only name and other available receivers include Paul Richardson and Demaryius Thomas. The only name that actually stands out to me on that is actually Taylor Gabriel. Because if you talk about a guy who's athletic with a crazy speed set, Taylor Gabriel fits that because he had Mitch Trubisky throwing him the football. I mean, and he was usually the third or fourth read. You really expect Mitch Trubisky to get to his third or fourth read? Not happening, bro. So Taylor Gabriel's the only one that intrigues me out of all those names just because he's super athletic and he's a speedy guy. But he's just within a very bad position. Tavon Austin, a little long in the teeth, purely gimmick guy. Jarius Wright and Chris Hogan, I mean, he was on our practice squad. Jordan Matthews, not a huge fan. Again, I watch a lot of Eagles games. Not a fan. Demaryius Thomas, this isn't back when Peyton Manning was throwing them the football, so I'll pass. You know what I mean? I'm with you, bro. I'd rather show me what the young guys got, bro. We got a 6'1" athletic freak, okay, that's – show me what you got. Matt Cole, you got 4.48 speed. You can play all these different positions. Show me what you got. You know what I mean? Like Matt Hollins, you got nice hair. Can you stay durable? Show me what you got. Why am I going to go out and waste my time on a Demaryius Thomas? It just doesn't make any sense for me. The only one that makes sense, and I know so many people are crapping on it, the only one that would even remotely make sense because of his skill set is Antonio Brown. But the question is, do you want that headache in the room?
I can see where Chris Hogan might be an option. You know, obviously, Flores again being in New England, you know, having that that experience and relationship with him, I'm assuming. So, but definitely underwhelming names on that list. I'm gonna stand pat and see what I have. Now, in the event somebody else goes down, COVID-19 or placed on the COVID-19 list, whatever. Okay, at that point I would look to make a move, but at this point now I'm standing pat and rolling what we have.
Yeah, we had someone creep into our comments on the last video. I want to pull this up for you guys today. I tweeted out earlier. Someone creeped in our comments and they're like, hey, you know, they basically wanted me to basically list out all, you know, they wanted to find out who by 40, who now is the slowest receiver in our receiver core. And it's quite interesting. I want to put the numbers up here for people before I let y'all know who it is, because I want y'all to see it when it's right in front of you, when it's in black and white. I want you guys to see how fast the receiving core really is when you actually take time and write it down, because it's kind of scary. You know, the only one who looks out of place, like we said, is Isaiah Ford, but I want people to see this. So I said here, someone asked me on our channel who the slowest 40 was out of our groups of wide receivers, and here's every 40 time of every receiver we have. So we got Parker at a 4.45. We got Preston at a 4.53. We got Wilson at a 4.43. We got Grant at 4.38. We got Kirk Merritt at 4.33. We got Matt Cole at 4.48. Gary Jennings at 4.42. Your boy Mac Hollins at 4.53. And then Isaiah Ford at 4.61 and Alan Hearns at 4.55. So when you actually look at it, obviously because we lost a 4.43 guy, as a whole we get slower, but we didn't lose one of our top two guys. And if you look at it, Cole's only 0.05 slower than him in his 40. Jennings, if he slots in there, he's technically faster. So was it really – I know the only place I see it as a blow is the NFL experience, because now behind Devontae Parker, our second most experienced receiver on this list is Jakeem Grant in terms of NFL snaps. Now, that's kind of a scary thing, considering how durability he's been – how his durability issues and stuff like that. But when you look at this speed set, you know, we talked about them going after like Alabama style guys, you know, we talk about the system, you know, we talk about how when you go to the Alabama system, it does have that bit of an air raid, element to it. And Shane Gale has been known to do with the spread. The one thing about guys having this fast, being this fast, is the routes are going to develop a lot quicker than your average receiving core. I mean, you know, looking at this list, bro, am I not kind of – doesn't Ford just look a little out of place?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're comparing speed, long speed, yeah, absolutely.
Well, no,
but,
I mean, you know, if you got, Preston, he's 4.53, but he can go up high point. He's explosive, et cetera. You know what I mean? You go on about Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins, he's a bigger dude, but he has an athletic skill set. Ford, he's the size of a slot receiver, but he runs a 4.61, bro.
I agree. He and also, like you said, the durability issues. But Ford, I will say this in all fairness to Isaiah Ford. I'm not the biggest Isaiah Ford fan, but he did flash at times second half of the season last year, and he proved that he can be he can make plays. So his experience, 2 years in the NFL, he's got a leg up in that regard than the UDFAs and the younger players at that position. But I'm not the biggest Isaiah Ford fan, so
yeah,
he's definitely on the slower end. Yeah, I mean, I think at some point they'll move on from him, in the offseason. So unless he just is just tearing up training camp, which is highly unlikely. But yeah, man, I think me personally, I'm taking a chance on the younger, more athletic guys than if it comes down to him and him versus them, their roster spot. So, yeah, I'm not the biggest Isaiah Ford fan, bro.
Yeah, I'm not either, bro. I just think,
no disrespect.
Not at all. He just, if you look at his NFL profile, it just fits the perfect profile for an NFL journeyman. That's all it does, right?
Yeah,
don't knock him. There's a place for people like that in the game. There's no knock, but when you look at everything else on this list, like ask yourself this. Matt Cole can play gunner, slot, returner on kicks and punts, and he runs 4.48. Who are you going to pick, him or Isaiah Ford? You know what I mean? You're probably going to see what you have. You're probably going to want to see what you have in Matt Cole because you already know what you have in Isaiah Ford, right?
It's good though. When you look at that list, though, you see it's a good blend of size, speed, combination. You got the bigger guys, 6'3", 6'4" with Parker. Obviously, with Preston Williams, 6'5". Mac Hollins, 6'5", and then you have the smaller guys, quicker, shiftier guys, Jakeem Grant, Kirk Merritt, Matt Coles. Jennings has good size. He's like 6'1"ish. He's that perfect. I think he's that.
So Merritt's 6'1", right?
Yeah, he's 6'1" too, and I think that size 6'1" to 6'2" is that sweet spot in terms of size. In addition to their speed with wide receivers, so
what,
blend, man, good blend.
I gotta ask you this: when you look at his size, his skill set, his athletic profile, his speed, Merritt, because you look at his arms are like that big. You know what I mean? He looks like once, and he's a pretty decent route runner. I will say Matt Cole's a pretty good route runner, but Merritt's a decent route runner. Do you think he has a chance to be that Albert Wilson replacement in terms of a guy who can not only kill another team in the slot, but can also line up in the boundary? And another thing a lot of people are forgetting about because he's not on this list, he's a tight end. Gesicki lined up
absolutely
in the slot and on the boundary more than any tight end in the NFL last year. So this only means his chances and his snaps in the slot. He's not on this list, but don't forget about Gesicki in the slot. His snaps are going to go up.
I agree. And I think that will be, we talked about this privately. I think the approach of the Dolphins, because I do believe, I'm disappointed, that Albert Wilson opted. I'm not mad at him, but I'm somewhat disappointed that he opted to sit out this year because, number one, the faith that, the faith that they showed in him by the contract restructuring, that in addition to, I was anticipating him having a big year this year in this offense. And I thought maybe this year, another year removed from that hip injury, I thought hopefully, according to reports, people were saying that he looks like that has that second gear back. So I was looking forward to him this year in this offense. But with that being said, I think the approach, in my opinion, especially early on, I think number one will be to establish the running game. Because again, we heard, Ryan Fitzpatrick talk about this the other day about the running game being quarterback's quote unquote best friend. So I think that will be the approach early on. But in terms of the offset of what statistic wise, what Albert Wilson brought, you look to incorporate the running backs out of backfield more so in the passing game. And also you just mentioned Mike Gesicki. His targets will go up. So ideally, I hope Jakeem Grant steps in that role because I think he can give you the same production because of his individual skill set. But I think to offset what he brought, his 42 catches and I forget his yardage total, but to offset that, I think the approach will be to spread the ball around more and more reliant on the running game, or in particular early on, until these other guys on the back end of the depth chart can step up and prove that they can be a reliable they can be a reliable target in this offense.
Yeah. I want to say El Reezy says $10 donation. Shout out to you, El Reezy, 941 Fins fan. He gives a $10 super chat donation. He says Merritt's a lock to make the team. Bunch of Dolphins emojis, hand clap, eyes, and a bunch of 100s. What it do, Reason EM? What it do, bro? And I want to shout out Aquavision he just said what up to me and you earlier with the $5 donation. Shout out to you.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, we need and even Roadrunner, the Josh Rosen troll. He said, looking forward to seeing this rookie wide receiver play this year. So are we, homie. Can't wait. Havoc. I'm gonna drop the link for you, Havoc. I see Havoc's in the comments. What's good, homie? Yo, man. Shout out to I just dropped that link in the shout out to you. He said he's calling out Hack Mullins.
Hack Mullins. He ought to be ashamed of himself, bro.
Second look. Hey, yo, you know what I realized, bro? I gotta find a way around if he makes a team playing Return to the Mac because we'll get copyright strike.
Oh yeah.
So I got
that tweet I sent you. That tweet I sent you. No, you need to just play that. Don't worry about anything. Just play that tweet, bro. Just put that tweet up. Oh man,
you're crazy, bro. You're wilding, bro. This guy.
Oh man, that's funny. But
I just want to say this quickly first. You guys who play fantasy, guys, if you play fantasy. Because I know the ADP on Gesicki and Preston are late. Scoop them up, guys. With these guys opting out, scoop up Gesicki and Preston Williams if you can get them in the later rounds. I'm telling you right now. And if you want to go super, super late, if you're in a dynasty, guys, I'm so on board with Kirk Merritt that back on May 24, 2020, in my dynasty league draft with a bunch of Dolphins content creators, your boy was the one who drafted Kirk Merritt in the 23rd round with the 10th pick, and I'm sitting pretty right now, I think. So, guys, fantasy tip quickly, Gesicki and Preston Williams, because we're Dolphin fans, we see what's going on. Their value, guys, Gesicki in the slot had the most slot snaps out of any tight end in the NFL last year. So, guys, if you can get them later on, mid-rounds, late rounds, they're definitely worth the pick. Yo, what's good, Havoc?
It's good, fellas.
Havoc, what's good, homie?
Oh man, y'all already know, man. A lot of news, man. A lot of activity at the wide receivers, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm telling you, man. Mac Hollins would do a backflip if he wasn't afraid he'd break both of his legs.
Oh, here we go. You starting early, huh?
You the one that bought property on Hollins Hill, homie.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Bro, his odds are looking better.
Y'all gonna be on that gentleman an apology real soon.
Please. He's about to get one of them COVID sponsored slots in the team, bro. It's looking like it. This roster spot brought to you by COVID, featuring Mac Hollins. It may happen, but we'll see.
Guys, Havoc and EM take your comments and banter back and forth about Mac. I've got 4 prestige. There's at least one auto or memorabilia in each pack, and there are no hobby boxes, guys. So there are no 200 to 300 boxes where they're stashing all the good autos in. There's only blasters and megas, so your chances of getting someone good are decent. So while these guys go back and forth and answer your questions and your takes, I'm going to open 2 boxes, and I'll save the other 2.
Yeah, just to get off. But I'm not going to clown Matt Hollins. I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm not going to clown him too much right now because, right now we're in a situation. Right now we're in a situation where, that third slot is open now, and we have a handful of gentlemen that have a legitimate claim to that spot. Now, we know Hearns is out. I would say if Wilson was out, Hearns would be probably, from an experience standpoint, like next in line for it. I think a lot of people may say Jakeem Grant, probably based on the fact that, he's a little bit shorter and a little bit, his agility and all that stuff. But let me get your opinion on this. But, my opinion is I don't know if he has necessarily the hands or the route running ability to necessarily fill in that slot role. But what do you think?
Well, I think Jakeem Grant's his skill set translates better to the slot position, I think, because of his ability to change direction. You know what I mean? He's a solid route runner. He can run routes. He's put that consistently on tape since he's been here. Again, his biggest issue has been, his durability, obviously. But I would love to see him, I would love to see him assume that role and ultimately flourish in that role because he's uncoverable if you line him in, if he lines up in line, bro. I mean, he's uncoverable. I mean, who can really match up with him? So opposing teams are going to have extreme difficulty either in man and even now in terms of, I don't know how much experience he's had, either at Texas Tech. I've seen him line up and slide at times since he's been here, but I don't think his experience is extensive.
Yeah, he was an outside guy.
I'm sure it's going to be somewhat of a learning curve for him. But yeah. So I'm sure that's going to be a learning curve for him. But I just think he has a skill set. I mean, very similar to Albert Wilson. You can run jet sweeps with him. You know what I mean? You can line him up. Obviously, he can play on a boundary. And I think, his ability to change direction is a huge asset for him if he, if they choose to deploy him, primarily in that slot role. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. If he can't do it, man, you look for Giuseppe, to be targeted more. His targets will go up more, and he lined up in the slot quite a bit for us last year as well. So, but I'm hoping Jakeem Grant, steps up and
it's interesting with Grant because he's always had the skill set. Like he's always had the measurables that would be perfect for a slot receiver. I think he is a serviceable route runner, but he does get jammed up. You would think for someone as that has such a low center of gravity and has such a strong base and core that you see Jakeem Grant display, that he would be able to do a little bit more with the release, getting off the line. But that's more you talking about the intangibles of being a wide receiver. Yeah, you're talking about the intangibles of being a wide receiver in terms of using your hands, all that type of stuff. But like I said, he's been here, I don't know how many seasons, and from my understanding, he has less than 10 starts. So I'm not necessarily going to peg him or put him in that role so far. But I will move on. I will move down the list because we should really get into who's, we all thought Albert Wilson is pegged for that slot. So who's really going to jump into that slot and own that slot? Or is it going to be, kind of a carousel? I would say, looking at the UDFAs, just to break them down, Jennings, a guy who, when you're talking about his place as a wide receiver on this team, a guy that maybe the slot is his only role on this team. Maybe as a hands guy with punt return, but if you have a guy like Merritt on your team who has displayed the ability to be explosive with the ball, you might be looking for him more in that role. But let me get your thoughts on Jennings, Ian, because if there's one person to own the slot role, I mean that's his bread and butter if he's going to get playing time.
Jennings, you say Jennings?
Yeah, Jennings.
Oh, well, yeah, he's another intriguing player, bro. To be honest with you, another height, weight, speed guy. He's got good size, real fast guy. He's young. He's a young player, though. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that much experience. I know this is his, second year, or was he? Yeah, this would be his second year. So, he was on. We poached him off of Seattle's practice squad last year. So he's a young player, inexperienced player, but he's got an intriguing skill set, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward for him to get his opportunity. Hopefully, again, he can step up. He looks phenomenal this offseason. I'm sure you've seen a lot of his workout videos that they've been posting about him. But and then also he's been working out with Tua, which is a good thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, another intriguing talent with tons of speed, very good size. Yeah, I can't wait to see what his implementation will be, what role, and how big of a role he'll have. So again, that wide receiver battle, bro, just went up a few notches, bro. So,
it's very interesting. Yeah. I think one thing people aren't really knowing that's pretty interesting is Tua's out here throwing. Even before they were in the building, he was in there throwing the ball around with the UDFAs. So. If I'm looking at that, I'm thinking to myself, they're trying to get a rapport with Tua early. So when the time comes, they'll have some type of rapport with him. So when their opportunity comes, it'll be, I'm not saying like clockwork, but they'll have some semblance of chemistry there.
Right.
So they can they can make that work early rather than later.
Right. And it's all about timing with a quarterback and a wide receiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good that Tua got a leg up and he's getting a feel of, all wide receivers, just like any player, their approaches are somewhat different. You know what I'm saying? So
it's good
to see him.
You guys read that Josh Rosen is actually the quarterback who worked out the most with our receivers, though, right?
That's highly encouraging. I didn't see that. That's highly encouraging.
He voluntarily set up workouts with some of our receivers a couple months ago.
That's highly encouraging.
That's encouraging. Yeah, that's encouraging.
Speaking of Albert,
hey, the opt-out.
That's encouraging.
But
go ahead, Havoc. I'm sorry, bro.
I appreciate it. So let's just run through, because I think just based on experience, you probably might be looking at Isaiah Ford's direction, just based on he's been on this roster, longer than, maybe not longer, but definitely longer than UDFAs, but not necessarily a guy with the skill set that you're looking for from that third place. And, I've always, they like him, his from an athletic standpoint, they like Isaiah Ford. I've always looked at him and wondered, what's his place? Because whatever he does, there always seems to be a wide receiver that can do it better than him. What are your thoughts on Isaiah Ford's chances?
Well, Ford, we like, again, I'm not the biggest Isaiah Ford fan from a athletic standpoint, but he flashed, the second half of the season last year. He has reliable hands. You know what I mean? He has good recognition of zone coverages. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't take that into account about responsibilities that receivers have. You know what I mean? To be able to read opposing defenses on the fly and adjust accordingly. Yeah. So he flashed that ability last year. But when you're at the end of the day, the NFL is about, for the most part, it's not all about athleticism, but generally coaches, when it comes down to, roster cuts and them favoring a certain player over another, generally it comes down to athleticism. And, unfortunately, from an athletic standpoint, his ceiling is not very high, especially compared to your Kirk Merritt's, Matt Hollinses of the world, Jakeem Grant's, Gary Jennings. It's nowhere near their ceiling.
See how you slipped him in there, yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
So,
yeah. you try to wedge Mac Hollins in there between Merritt and Jennings. I saw that. I see you, Em.
Shout out to you, Mac. I'm riding with you. Don't listen to these other clowns. I'm riding with you, homie.
Hey, I'm riding with you too, Mac Hollins. Get my order right. Half garlic Parmesan half mango habanero. That's all I'm asking.
Oh my God. I'm riding with you, homie. But yeah, his ceiling is nowhere near these other guys. And I think at the end of the day, in addition to his durability concerns, no, man, I think they'll move away. I think he's going to be the odd man now. One of the odd men now.
Hey, now, the arm god, Dan Marino card.
Danny boy.
That's a jersey relic.
Hey, put that in the case right now.
Danny boy.
Case that up right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Case.
Man, that's
Danny boy.
That's a gem right there. Man, I'm live on the stream too with the Marino card. Gotta love that.
Close player warrant material is guaranteed, in my opinion.
Here's what I'm gonna open up the floor to get some positive Mac Hollins talk on the airwaves, man. So I'm gonna let you make the case for Mac Hollins, who, you know, you're talking about 2 wide receivers out of the picture right now, and with going into the COVID season, you at a certain point you're just gonna need bodies.
Mm-hmm.
What are Mac Hollins' chances of possibly shining in this role? Yeah, is what I'm wondering, because obviously I can't give an objective take on Mac Hollins, but you can. So,
well, I'll say this, bro. In terms of a depth piece, you know what I mean. And again, I'm just my intrigue with Hollins in this offense is not from the standpoint of a one or number 2 or even number 3. As a player with huge upside athletically, you know what I mean, as your 4th, 5th, or 6th guy on your roster. Keep in mind, in especially when we implement, if we opt to implement our spread packages at times, situationally this year, a player with that kind of athleticism matching up with the opposing team's 4th cornerback, you don't like that advantage, because generally we all know the further you are the further you're down on the depth chart means it tells us all that you're limited athletically. So why wouldn't you want a player with that? I mean, he can even match up with a lot of number 1s and number 2s from an athletic standpoint. So why wouldn't you want that kind of athleticism matched up, especially when we incorporate more 4 or 5 wide receiver sets? Him matched up, that's an immediate matchup advantage that you have. Him matched up on the opposing team's 4th or 5th cornerback. So from that standpoint, this is what I'm saying. I think the fan base, you included, y'all are sleeping on his kids. It's that. Now again, if you sneeze on him, he's going to the IR for 8 games. we all know that. We all know that. But I'm just saying, if this kid can get here, and again, you're not asking him to come in and be the number 1 guy, but if he can, stay somewhat healthy and he can prove that he can be reliable in his offense, bro, that's immediately huge catch radius. I mean, this kid, I'm telling you, that is an immediate matchup advantage for you. So from that standpoint, that's my intrigue with Mac Hollins. So, and that's pretty much where it ends. But I just liked him, in the 2017 draft. I had he was one of my guys that I was hoping the Dolphins would target because of that, because of his athletic profile. So, but we'll see we'll see. Hopefully, again, not just him, but a lot of these. I just want production. I don't care who it comes from. I want production at the end of the day. Whether that's Matt Cole, whether that's Garrett Jennings, whether it's Kirk Merritt, Jakeem Grant, I want production. And I'm just saying, as far as Mac Hollins is concerned, he just has an intriguing skill set. That's all.
I hear you. And I personally, I have a thing against particularly guys that are around the bottom of the depth chart that have injury concerns. Guys have injury concerns that aren't really on the field too much. That's always kind of my thing. That's my main knock against Hack Mullins. But if if I'm looking at one guy to get that spot and really take advantage of it and show out, for me personally, I'm slotting Merritt. I'm slotting Merritt for that role just because I look at the upside and I see a guy that can be a serious mismatch and give us an incredible advantage at that third wide receiver spot. That's why I advocate for him. I think, if his personal troubles that he had in college may be the Dolphins' benefit. It got him downgraded from a draft perspective. And once again, and I said it before and I'm going to say it again, we got some of the best gem finders in the league throughout our organization. So I'm highly confident that, he's one of those guys. Once he takes the field and he shows out, people are going to be on notice immediately about what he can bring to the table.
Well, one thing we need to be careful of in terms of not just Kirk Merritt, but any player, number one, transitioning from a UDFA status to this level. Number two, it's a lot of players, when you're projecting a player playing primarily at one position, in particular him on the boundaries, and you're trying to project him to inside at this level. A lot of players can't make that transition, let alone, a lot of players can't even make that transition in the NFL, let alone a UDFA. So we need to be conscious of that learning curve. It's going to be steep for him already. So you're projecting him into a position that necessarily he hasn't had much repetition at. So we have to be conscious of that as well. But the athleticism definitely alone, I told Reason, even if they have to convert him to a defensive back or something, you know what I mean? Get that athleticism on the field at some point. Find a spot for him. Kind of like what you're doing. If he doesn't translate to wide receiver, if he gives you nothing there, find a spot for him. Kind of like that kid, that Brazilian kid. They're trying to groom now.
I know.
He's a defensive tackle now. He's on the offensive.
Neto?
Now he's on the offensive side of the football. So Neto. So now that type of athleticism, you have to find a spot for him at somewhere on this roster, bro, because it's too much. It's too much. And I told Reason this personally, privately earlier, that to me, if he doesn't work out, if he winds up getting cut, not placed on the practice squad, but getting cut, that'll be, to me, the biggest disappointment in training camp, because the athleticism is just so intriguing. You know what I mean? Yeah. That profile is so intriguing. So that'll be the biggest. That'll be a huge disappointment if he can't get on the field this year. But especially if they cut him. Now, if he gets on a practice squad, that's fine. You're continuing your investment in him, and hopefully he catches up to speed, and they'll activate him on the 53-man roster at some point later on down the line. But if they cut him, that's telling me he offers us no value. And so that'll be the biggest disappointment. So
I think my main concern would be if you try and practice squad a guy like Merritt, he ain't going to be there more than a week. And especially in a time where everyone's looking for bodies right now. You're saying guys opt out right now. Who knows what's going to happen, especially if you're going to use the NBA is in a bubble right now, but Major League Baseball is not in a bubble right now, and we're seeing. People thought it was just a Miami Marlins problem, but if you look at what's going on with the St. Louis Cardinals as well, you're having these incidents happen where all of a sudden, out of a blue, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys got it, and you have to delay games. You have to start scheduling doubleheaders, things like that. My main concern is, if you come to a game day and you have, upwards of, 5, 10, 15 guys, and you have to start delaying games or rescheduling the games, and you got guys, playing on Thursdays, back-to-back weeks, things like that. You're gonna have, and I project at a certain point, you're just gonna need bodies. That's why I would say, even if a guy like Merritt can't quite secure that role, at the very least, you're gonna want to keep him in the building, because you don't have guys.
They have that policy. Well, they have that they implemented that policy where you can protect up to 4 guys now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So if he goes to the practice squad, just protect him. That's all.
Okay.
Because I mean, you know, those 53 spots, they are at a premium. You know what I mean? So they are extremely valuable. So yeah, if he does, yeah. So yeah, just put him on. Hopefully he makes the 53 man. That tells me the coaching staff have a level of faith in him that he can contribute immediately. But if he doesn't, just put him on a practice spot and protect him and develop him, bro. They do that the same approach to Nick Needham. Take the same approach you did with Nick Needham last year. And you saw what kind of dividends that paid for us in the second half of the season. So,
Sure.
yeah. But yeah, I agree. I'm in agreement with you and Reason on that one. That profile is something else. Sure.
I'm looking.
What do you think about we took? Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I had a question. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Devon Godchaux, man. That's to me, that's if his placement on that COVID-19 list is extensive, that's concerning because all of a sudden, even with him on the roster, depth at that position was, it was cutting it kind of close. But if Godchaux, if he doesn't come back in a timely manner, bro, all of a sudden you have two rookies starting on your defensive line. And again, we know how high I am on these two prospects, but again, they're rookies. There will be a level, there will be a steep learning curve. And I listened to, if you listen to Christian Wilkins, they interviewed him today and he highlighted his struggles early on. What did he say? Technique, hand placement, pad level. All rookies struggle with that on the interior. I don't care who it is. Aaron Donald struggled. So we can, as much as I love Raekwon Davis, again, and Benito Jones, there's going to be a learning curve, in particular early on. Again, going back to last year, 32nd against the run last year. So it's a concern, definitely a concern. Now, if there's a move to be made, if Godchaux doesn't come back in a timely manner, that's the move to make. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm going to look to get a veteran at some point.
Okay.
So, but we just have to pay attention. Go ahead. I
was just saying, I thought Godchaux would be an opt-out candidate because if you look at the situation he's in, he wants a contract extension. He's going to the last year of his contract. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Dolphins are particularly. I wouldn't say they're not interested in bringing him back. They're not interested in bringing him back at the price tag that he probably wants. Particularly when you talk about you just drafted a Raekwon Davis. I thought he'd be an opt-out candidate. And he may still be. Now, if we're in a situation where it's better that he's on that list now than closer to the start of the season. But if he can't do it, right? If for whatever reason he's not playing this season, you're gonna have to look at a situation where you're gonna have to, move Wilkins back inside to spell Raekwon Davis and give him Raekwon the majority of the snaps, or give Wilkins the majority of the snaps at the defensive tackle position, and have Raekwon kind of be in a rotation with him. And then you have to kind of figure out your edge guys, because I felt Wilkins would be great as an edge setter for us, but if Godchaux wasn't there, he's going to have to move back inside and take more snaps inside. I'm looking forward to see. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I will say this about Christian Wilkins. He does offer that versatility. That's definitely an option. He definitely can play inside over the zero technique. And I'm talking about, my concern is primarily coming from that position, the nose tackle position, in terms of depth. So Wilkins offers that. If Godchaux doesn't come back anytime soon, I definitely do. I'm convinced that they will reach out to some team and make a, look to bring another player in, because you got two rookies starting on your, and just from a depth standpoint, there's nothing but after Benito Jones, there's nothing left. You know what I mean? Or unless you're going to start playing players out of position, your Zach Zeilers or But again, even though I'm high on Zeiler's skill set, him playing him primarily, I don't think he's big enough to play on the at the zero technique primarily. I don't think so. But so I think they would look. That's the move to make. In terms of bringing a player in, but we'll see. Hopefully his him on that list it's not long. He hopefully comes back in a timely manner. And then he's a veteran. He knows the scheme. So he can once he comes off that list, you can just plug him in. The day he gets off that list. So, but the question is just how long he's going to be gone. So.
It's interesting.
Hopefully, Benito, if you're listening, hopefully, homie, hey, this is your chance, bro. Because Raekwon is a lock. Raekwon Davis is a lock to make the team. Yep. Benito Jones, I don't know, but I'm hoping he's looking at this as an opportunity. He picks that baton up and runs with it, bro.
Yeah, I think particularly Benito, it's interesting, particularly with a guy like Ray Lima retiring, essentially. A guy that. Ray Lima only offered you really the nose tackle. He only really offered you zero technique. He's not really, a guy that's going to give you any type of pass rush up the middle.
Right. I agree.
It's interesting because the team, what they did with Tankersley, they put him on the COVID list and then they took him off the COVID list to waive him. I'm seeing, with a guy like Godchaux, I'm not saying he's a candidate to get waived, but I'm worried. I'm interested to see what his placement on this team is, particularly if something happens at the beginning of the season where he can't play, but maybe someone else fills in the gap, and they're like, "Hey, we like what we have here," and then you may be looking at a situation where Godchaux is maybe an odd man out because I think the main thing he offers you is consistency. Like if Godchaux is your starter, you can basically pencil in what his numbers are going to be for the season. Not necessarily looking at him as an upside guy. You may look at him as a reliable piece.
Ooh, look what I just pulled. It's not a Dolphin. But I got Bono's football.
You're pulling some cards today, bro.
Bro, dude. So I opened up 2 before I went live. So now I've opened 5, and only one of them has had an auto in it. I pulled Travis Gibson, the running back receiver that the Redskins drafted, and then I told Matt Baldovinos from Pro Football Network, I said, bro, you can have it. So I'm not even keeping the one auto I pulled so far.
I've seen you. It looks like you pulled about seven Jalen Hurts so far.
I pulled 1 Jalen Hurts.
Wait. I've seen you pull multiple Jalen Hurts.
Oh, no, today. I'm talking about today.
Oh, I'm saying overall, you're pulling them every day.
Look at what I just pulled, DM. I pulled Antoine Winfield Jr., rookie.
Man, which would have done it? That hurts. That hurts.
Dude, you know what I pulled? I pulled Brady in the Buck. You guys were talking. I pulled Brady in the Bucks uniform twice.
Wow.
That's going to be very interesting to see. It's
one
of those.
I'm on my last box. I've opened 3 boxes, but you guys talk. I'm just going to open up the last one.
We'll keep going. I think an interesting battle to see because I always thought going into this year just as a rebuilding year, like get our foothold, see who our core players are going to be. But it looks like New England is slowly but surely falling down to the wayside right now, right? Mm-hmm. Looking at the Jets, who didn't start the offseason in a great place, don't look to be in an even better situation. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the AFC East as a two-team race, essentially. It's us and the Bills. And I would say coming off last year, you might give the Bills the upper edge. Although if you look at the teams they beat, they didn't really beat anybody to get to to get there, to get to where they got last year.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Another non-autograph. Bro, there were 7 boxes there. And some kid showed up, and I had 5 boxes. I took 5 boxes. The kid's like, oh, whoa, there's football cards? I'm like, yeah. He grabbed 1 box. I went back later, and I grabbed the last remaining box. That kid probably got – there were only probably 2 out of the 7 that had autos, and he probably got the other auto. Son of a
Those are the breaks. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. That's how the game goes. But
yeah,
I guess
the percentages of that are shite.
I guess the question I have is, are you at all reevaluating what our goals are for the AFC East this year?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, not at all, because I've been consistent since the schedule was released. Even before all of the COVID-19 opt-outs on the Patriots. And also, you're hearing rumblings about Tre'Davious White could possibly opt out. So that would significantly weaken their defense, bro.
Tre'Davious White said today when he was asked that he's undecided whether he's going to opt out because he has a young family.
Yeah, that would significantly weaken that team.
And then about an hour after that, a Buffalo Bills reporter came out and he said, from what he's hearing, it sounds like he's going to opt out.
Okay.
Well, again, my mindset as far as the AFC East division is concerned, it hadn't changed. I thought that we, with the offseason that we had, I thought that we had a very realistic chance of being highly competitive to winning the division this year. I thought the win total would be in between 7 and 10 wins. And now that, what has transpired in the last week, it just reaffirms, my mindset, bro. I think the AFC at this point is up for grabs. But yeah, man, I'm not fearful of any team this year in our division, bro.
I don't see.
I'm gonna maintain that consistency.
Yeah, I don't see anyone in this division to be scared of. And that's us.
No,
coming out.
What quarterback do you? What?
I was just about to say that's us coming after a 5-win season. And we're not afraid of anyone in this division, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man,
absolutely. What quarterback keeps you up at night? What quarterback is keeping you up at night?
I hope Sam Darnold. I hope Sam Darnold is out of Luigi's haunted mansion. Last time I saw him, he was seeing ghosts.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm to keep it a buck. I'm not afraid of Cam's arm. And Josh Allen. Josh Allen, he can throw up from one stadium to the other. But one thing that we saw in the playoffs is when it came down to making that on time, on money pass. That's not what he does. That's not his skill set. He's kind of like Josh Allen is kind of like he's kind of like the make it happen captain. Not necessarily a by the book guy, but he can make things happen with his legs if things break down. But when you give him that time, that clean pocket, and you need him to make that on the button throw, I don't know if he's that guy. So he doesn't necessarily put the fear of God in me either. So we may all, to be honest,
I agree.
To keep it a full buck, we may have the most talented quarterback in the AFC East on our roster right now. Right now.
I would say we have the most talented, and I think we have the best quarterback at the same time. And I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is the best quarterback in the AFC East. Okay, you can laugh and scoff at it all you want. Not you, but I mean our fan base. That have consistently hated on him. And we have the most gifted distributor of the football in Tua Tagovailoa, waiting in the wings. So I think we have the best overall quarterback room. So again, maintaining that consistency, I think 7 to 10 wins, and I think definitely the AFC East crown is in play for this team this year.
I think I agree 7 to 10. I think at this point, I think 7 is underplaying it at 7 right now. I think 500 is basic. In my opinion, I think 500 is a lock. If you're looking at other teams, how they have come down, I think 500 is a lock for us. Now that it's not just COVID, how COVID has affected all the other teams in the division. So far, we've, it's Hearns and Wilson. We may be able to make up that production. If that's all, or that is basically the extent of the COVID impact on the Dolphins, I mean, us making a run at the AFC East crown, not out of the question at all, in my opinion. Especially if you look at our defense. I think clearly the Patriots they're able to retain the majority of their secondary, with the exception of Chung. But in terms of our defense, I would say we have leaped ahead of the Patriots now, considering the losses they have experienced, mostly because of Dante Hightower. He's with Van Noy leaving, he essentially became the leader of that defense, and for him to opt out, and if you look at their depth chart, it's a whole bunch of who's who right now in terms of their depth chart. I'm highly up on our chances, even more now than a month ago, I would say. But still got to play. We still got to see, who's still for us. But
I agree, bro. I'm 100% in agreement with you. I'm 100% in agreement with you, homie. I think New England. You're gonna see. I think you're gonna see a big step back from them this year, especially from their defense. They lost a lot of depth, bro.
A ton.
Key pieces on all levels: leadership, athletic ability. I mean, they lost huge pieces, and as good as a defensive mind that Bill Belichick is, I just don't understand how you can overcome that in one off season. So, again, like you said, we have to let it play out. We have to let the play on the field speak for itself. But as we're sitting here today, bro, I see a significant dip in the overall production of that, in particular that defense this year.
And also, I'll just put this out there: Bill Belichick is not one to tank, but he sure is one to see if he got about 9, 10, 11 guys come to his office saying, hey, boss, I'm on the fence. Should I opt out? Shouldn't I opt out? I get the feeling Belichick is like, go ahead and set the season out. Tank it without having to tank. All I'm saying is keep an eye out.
Hold on a sec, guys.
Go home and be with your family.
Exactly.
Go home and be with your family. Man. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I didn't know you were home being with your family. You know what I mean? Just go home and be safe. I'll see you next year. So
exactly. I'll see you. Well, I'll see you next year with a newly minted quarterback. In the back of my mind, you can't tell me Belichick is not thinking that right now. I know he's thinking
I'm sure it's crossed his mind a couple times, bro. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm sure it's crossed his mind. So we'll see how that plays out. Definitely interesting, though.
But, we'll see. We'll see. To be seen. That's the thing, with this whole COVID thing. It's the ultimate variable. 1 minute, because 1 minute you may show up thinking, man, we're going to kill these dudes. And then you show up the next day, your whole quarterback room got it. You ain't killing nothing with no quarterbacks, So to be seen, but
definitely
keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for New England Patriots. Tanking for Trevor may be real. That's all. I'm just putting that out there.
So let me ask you this, Havoc: the release of Cordrea Tankersley. Okay, do you think that more? In terms of his release, do you think it was more of just a frustration with the investment in the player because of durability, whatever you want to call it? Or was it more of there's a level of confidence in, with the overall depth of that at that position?
I would say it's both, but I also think Tankersley may have health issues that we're not aware of. And they may have been looking for him to make some type of progress off of his last injury that he may not physically be able to make. So you have to, and it's like, I'm trying to remember who is, because I keep referencing Todd Gurley when I think of this this player, just a player that has a degenerative condition. Todd Gurley is that guy, he went from a perennial MVP candidate to looking for a job, right? I'm thinking maybe with Tankersley, if he's a guy that was already, had perhaps a good upside, but essentially was a guy that was towards the back of our depth chart when it comes to our DBs. And if he's a guy that can't necessarily get healthy or stay healthy, and when he comes back, he's not necessarily back to the player that we drafted. Are we going to hold on to him? Are we going to ride it out? Do we think his upside is so high that we're going to ride it out with him, or are we going to cut our losses and give a guy who we picked up, Picasso Nelson Jr., who essentially can give us help at the free safety spot? Are we going to give him a shot? I think it's very intriguing. So I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination of, us upgrading our DBs, but also, there's that quote, your best ability is availability. And that's something that Tankersley has not necessarily been able to display his time with the Dolphins. So, those are the breaks.
I agree with you, bro. I think it's a combination of both as well. When I had a chance to really just sit and think about, him being released. But yeah, I think, number one, Flores didn't draft the guy. So he doesn't have necessarily a personal investment in him. And again, you just alluded to the fact that, there might be some other issues going on that we're not aware of. You know what I mean? He's 2 years removed from that injury, 2 years now. So, but again, and obviously him being on the field, his role in this defense, in my opinion, was nothing beyond the fifth wide receiver. I'm sorry, corner. Why do I want to keep calling cornerbacks wide receivers? I don't know why. But as the fifth or sixth cornerback, he was going to be a depth unless he just came in and had an outstanding camp and outperformed everybody. But again, that's highly unlikely. So, but with the guys, the guys that you brought in, they can match his athleticism. They can match his profile. You know what I mean? And again, the uncertainty about him being able to stay on the field. Again, you can't make the club in the tub. So
that's it.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of both as well. So disappointing because I have I really thought that we had a steal there in the third round. But hey, it didn't work out. And at some point, bro, just like hopefully they realize what they have or don't have in Josh Rosen, and they take the same approach. You know what I mean? Sooner rather than later.
So it's at a certain point, I don't want to get bogged down because, every time you bring up Josh Rosen's name, it's an hour-long conversation. But I will just say this, though. You can't fall in love, and I said this before, and I keep saying it over and over again. You can't fall in love with these look-the-part all-stars because you end up in a situation kind of like, everyone wants to bring up Tennessee and Tannehill. They had a guy before Tannehill named Marcus Mariota. Looks the part of a modern era quarterback, not necessarily throwing wise, but can move a little bit. And you could very well make the case.
But
they have held on to that asset a little too long.
You know what's crazy though? Like back months ago, EM will remember this, when the comparison was made of some idiot on another platform compared Marcus Mariota to Tua Tagovailoa because not firstly because they're Samoan. Secondly, I don't know how you could make that comparison. See, I never thought Mariota was going to be good because if you watched Mariota, and he clearly benefited from Chip Kelly because there's still a lot of that foundation of the Chip Kelly offense in the Oregon offense. We talk about how LSU's offense was all about manufacturing space. Well, go watch Marcus Mariota highlights. It's nothing but space around his receivers. So, that's the thing. I said it with Justin Herbert, and you saw it with Marcus Mariota, even worse with Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota never made tight window throws. He never had to. And that was kind of a Justin Herbert thing. He never had to make tight window throws. Either make a throw to the sideline or go deep or keep it I believe a third of his 33%, so a third of his completion percentage Yeah, a third of his completion percentage, I think overall he was about 65%, 66%, but a third of his completion percentage came off screens.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things for it. Mariota, same thing. Mariota, it was wide open, purely manufacture space for wide receivers and then throw screens. That's literally what Chip Kelly was doing and made his bread and butter off in Oregon. Like, I mean, and you know, it goes to Rosen. If people watch the film of Rosen in UCLA, I didn't get the fascination. I didn't see a guy that if you put in an elite offense, he was going to throw 45, 50 touchdowns. I just didn't see it, especially after he returned from that shoulder surgery. I just didn't get it, man. And, you know, everyone, oh, well, he went through all these different coordinators. Well, guess what? Tua Tagovailoa is about to be on his fourth offensive coordinator in 4 years as well. But he produced.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also Mariota's an extremely limited player in terms of his arm strength. So when you combine all of his other deficiencies on top of his limitations arm strength wise, that's just a bad recipe. He was a bad match. And I think, and I've consistently brought this point up about Josh Rosen. I don't get the fascination with Josh Rosen, the talent. I just don't see it on tape. Didn't see it at UCLA. Didn't see it at Arizona. For damn sure didn't see it in last year. So you have to have something. And when you're talking about quarterbacks at this level,
bro, look at this.
Coaches have to have something
I want
that
you to
they can build. You
got to address this. There's some guy in Poseidon. He's clearly eye test Burner's account, and he says, because people were asking who I was talking about, and obviously I was talking about eye test. He said he's talking about eye test, but what the man was saying, far as comparisons, was true. Look at this.
Wow. He said that?
Poseidon, bro. What do you smoke? You smoke the seaweed down in the ocean? Like, what do you bro? Tua and Mariota, besides from being Samoan, they're not comparable at all. First of all, Mariota.
Totally different types of quarterbacks. Totally different.
I want you to find me clips of Mariota climbing the pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
And showing great pocket awareness. He relied way more on his athleticism than he did on his arm. And like I said, when he relied on his arm, it was manufactured space for his receivers or it was a screen. So, nah, man, that comparison is so far off. And in fact, what's funny about that comparison is that man made that comparison. And the first thing he said was how he was Samoan, yet he had just finished going off on the
Polynesian, NFL. Right?
Yeah, Polynesian, right. But he had just finished going off on the NFL for how they treat African Americans and how it's modern day slavery. So after all of that thing, he ends up stereotyping another race, anyways. I mean, to even take someone who doesn't even have the logic to think about what he's saying, to take that at heart and to take that as gospel, bro, you got to be smoking the seaweed under the water, Poseidon. I don't know what else to tell you. No, it wasn't true. Show me where it was true, Poseidon. You got the ability. Drop links right now. Show me Mariota climbing the pocket consistently like Tua. I want you to show me Mariota consistently working his third and fourth progressions because you won't find it. I want you know what? Go find Mariota making tight window throws because, again, you're not going to find it. Watch the film. Stop talking just for the sake of putting comments in the section and your voice being heard when it's nonsense. All you're giving is your opinion. You're not, and obviously your opinion and his opinion, they have no foundation or credible basis to them. And you want to come on here and debate that with me? The links earlier, I'll drop the link again. You go find the clips, and bro, I'll guarantee you after I'm done with you, you'll never come back to this channel.
Can we get a little film? Can we get a little film study going? Can we get just a little bit of film? Just a little bit.
It's the one read two all over again. Show me the film. Because the last time someone tried to show me a one read film of Tua, it ended up being the person who's showing me the film couldn't diagnose that it was a set design play to the wide receiver. And there was only one read on the play. So I say, show me the film, bring the film, drop the links because they don't exist. I'm telling you right now. So don't come spewing. We started this channel. I'm going to keep going. We started this channel to educate people because there's people out there who misinform people with larger subscription bases than us, and that's a problem. Okay? So when you got ain't nobody scared, bro. I'll drop the link right now. Hop on, Phinside, and come debate me right now. Let's go. There's a link. The clips, you're gonna need them because if you're coming, that's like coming to a gunfight with a knife. So you go get those. There's that link. Haul at me, bro.
Hey, you gotta talk that talk. You gotta walk that walk.
Yo, I'm sick and tired of people who don't watch film, who don't know what they're talking about, miseducating people based off their subjective opinion. Get out of here with that, man.
Come on, Poseidon. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
You know, but also,
it's all love. It's all love.
But also, it has to be said. I mean, Oregon's been giving us them fool's gold quarterbacks since Akili Smith, quite a while.
Joey Harrington.
You know what's worth Havoc? Think about this: the Cincinnati Bengals turned down 4 first-round draft picks for Akili Smith. They were offered 4 first-round draft picks to move up.
Ooh, for Akili Smith. Even when Akili Smith was during that time, like I remember that draft class, wasn't nobody like super excited about Akili Smith coming out of that draft. He had a great year, but no one was like, "Oh yeah, Akili Smith is that guy." When he came out, it was just like the Bengals were starving for a quarterback.
Bad management, right?
Man, but I mean, I fully agree with that.
I guess he ain't showing up. Showing up.
All talk, no walk, bro. If he's that right, prove it to me. And the problem is you can't. So
you'd be hard pressed to find someone that would compare Mariota and Tua Tagovailoa's game as comparable. It's just two different styles.
The comparison, the comparison starts and ends with their ethnicity. That's it.
Literally, that's it. And by making that comparison, you're stereotyping. So I don't know what else to say to you, man. Like that's what the whole basis was of, that they're Polynesian. So they must be the same.
It's like when they
hang on. Come on, Poseidon, hang on.
Bro,
come on, Poseidon, bro.
I know, man.
Nobody's saying he's right. Listen, we want to hear your side. We want to hear your analysis. That applies to anybody.
I need a good laugh.
Nobody's trying to be right or wrong. It might be something in the film that he missed, that Reason missed. He just wants you to come up on this platform and articulate yourself. That's all. It's not about nobody trying to punk you or anything like that, bro. Just come up here. You made a statement. Come on this. He dropped the link for you. Come up here and show the world why you're saying what you're saying, and that applies to anybody.
This is clearly I test burner account too. That wasn't all he said though. That's literally all he said. That's literally what he said.
That's all.
But
even he don't have to go find any film. Just come up here. Just come now and articulate yourself why you think that's a fair comparison to Tua Tagovailoa. That's all. Don't worry about the film study. I want to hear your personal.
Bro, that's that Stretch Armstrong from one room to the other type of reach on that one, bro. On that comparison, bro.
I mean, it's tough, especially you're talking about a guy, Marcus Mariota, who's shown, his only reason why he's been able. The only reason why he's been able to kind of hang on in the NFL is solely based on his athleticism. It's damn sure not based on his mobility.
His mobility.
Tua Tagovailoa, he's gonna make his bones in the NFL. I'm not gonna say purely on arm talent, but he's one of the most accurate passers to come out of multiple drafts.
Dude, he has the highest ever touchdown to interception ratio in college football, and you want to compare him to Marcus Mariota? Dude, let me tell you this. Marcus Mariota could not have brought Alabama back into that game like Tua did against LSU. And if Judy didn't drop that ball, Alabama wins that game on top of it.
Well, I don't know what these people stop it. I don't know what Marcus Mariota, bro.
Another thing, the touch. Tua has some of the best deep ball touch we've seen come out of college. Marcus Mariota didn't have that touch. That's what I'm saying. Marcus Mariota couldn't even climb a pocket like Tua Tagovailoa, yet let alone throw as accurate or with as nice touch or with as good anticipation. Like Tua is so far advanced pre-snap alone to where Marcus Mariota was, because Marcus didn't have to make pre-snap reads in that Chip Kelly offense, bro. Like, this is basic fundamentals. People don't even know the offenses they're talking about. They just know the players that were in it.
Right.
All I know is Merritt lost his job in an offense that runs the ball 65% of the time.
And Havoc, what's Marcus Mariota's biggest highlight in the NFL? That ball where he threw the ball, it got batted, and he caught it himself and ran it in. That's literally
in Kansas City.
Highlight
in Kansas City.
NFL, bro. That's
Kansas
literally
City.
That's his career in a nutshell.
You know, and see, you look at in terms of the biggest indictment on Mariota, and that's why I highlighted his arm strength.
That position doesn't win games, homie.
You just brought that up.
Billy Smith went number one.
DeMarcus Russell was the number one pick.
You just brought that up. You just brought that up, Havoc, about him being in that Tennessee offense for years, right? He had that same offensive line. He had that same running game at his disposal. But why wasn't? And if you look at the reason why that offense didn't take a significant leap in terms of production was because of his inability to consistently push the ball down the field. One thing Tannehill can do, and he proved, Tannehill has a strong arm, and he can push the ball. He can push the ball down the field to the point where teams always have to account for that aspect of their offense. Because if from a defensive standpoint, if you don't have to worry about the threat of vertical route, vertical concepts, you just cloud the line of scrimmage. And Mariota is not accurate enough to fit the ball, because when teams do that, when they crowd the line of scrimmage, it shrinks the windows. So he doesn't throw with enough anticipation. His arm is too weak to generate enough velocity on the football. In the event he misses a read or he's late on a read, he doesn't have enough velocity to get the ball there. Even if he misses a read. So he's limited. He has extreme limitations, but you hit the nail on the head in terms of Mariota. The reason why he's been in the league is because of his athleticism, his ability with his legs. And again, what do I always say about coaches when they're evaluating quarterbacks? You have to have some aspect of their game has to be strong enough to build a foundation on. Mariota's athleticism, Justin Herbert's arm strength and athleticism. All the other aspects of the game, the mental aspect of the game, coaches are so arrogant enough they think they can coach anybody. So he's limited. He has extreme limitations. But in the West Coast,
and he's trying to miss it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he was comparing their college career. Again, you can't even compare their college career, because when Mariota came out, when you talk about credible scouts, what was the one thing you kept hearing? He might be a product of his system. The arm, not really. What do you hear about Tua? Oh, he reminds me of a athletic version of Drew Brees. Oh, he reminds me of a little bit of a less athletic version of Russell Wilson. Then go into the stats again. Show me how their college is comparable when Tua has literally the greatest touchdown interception ratio of all time. He has literally the greatest passer rating of all time at the college level. Mariota don't have any of that.
No.
And here's the other thing. What was the one stat that I kept stressing, EM? What was that one stat that I kept saying almost to nauseum about PFF with Tua Tagovailoa?
Remember? That? I remember. You're going to have to refresh my memory, though.
Okay, I'm going to bring it up. Do you remember the tight window throws analytic?
Right. That's what I'm. Yeah, right. It was the. I forget the exact terminology, bro. But I know what you're. I know what you're referencing.
Right here. I'll read a little part. Guys, I always say this. Go back to my quarterback big board. Man, I put so much work into it, and I'm really proud of it. And I had Tua Tagovailoa number one on that big board. So I'll just go right here. All right? We'll just start right here, and I'll go right here. Since 2018, Tua Tagovailoa against the blitz is 154 out of 231 for 2,571 yards, 27 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions, proving he absolutely shreds them. His pinpoint accuracy and protection of the ball only led to 24 turnover-worthy plays his entire college career. Tua was second in the nation on accuracy plus throws into tight windows. Now, what is an accuracy?
Explain.
An accuracy plus throw is to the chest, okay, to the shoulder, or leading a receiver. Those are literally the three perfect places, shoulder, if you're going back, shoulder, etc. Those are the three perfect places you can put a ball according to the analytics, okay? So those are called accuracy throws. And not only that, in tight windows. He was the second best nation in tight windows. What does that tell you? That tells you it don't matter if it's Jerry Jeudy, it don't matter if it's Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle in a tight window. That ball is being put where only the receiver can make a play on it. So, again, not even comparable. Not even in the same realm. And we're not even going to go into the football IQ. I mean, again, I can show you so many snaps. I've showed them on screen of Tua, the head twitchiness working from a second, third, fourth progression, then all the way back to his first, and even sometimes then to his second. Mariota never had to come back to a first and second, let alone getting to his fourth. If Mariota's second read wasn't there, the majority of the time, Mariota got out of the pocket or he checked it down.
And you see, and just, I mean, not even digging into the analytics, bro, just on tape, you see Tua is just a superior athlete. Arm talent, arm strength, mobility, I would give the edge to Mariota, but Tua, from an arm talent standpoint, he's just so far superior than what Mariota is, bro. And it's clearly, I don't understand. I mean, Ray Charles can see that, bro.
You know what? It's interesting because
I don't get the comparison. I mean, I don't know.
Tennessee custom fitted their offense. Tennessee custom fitted their offense for Mariota, and he lost his job.
Yeah,
they custom fitted their offense.
And again, and I'm telling you, if you notice, and people think that when you talk about Tennessee last year, okay, their offense as a whole in terms of production did not take a significant leap we saw the second half of the season until they took Mariota out, inserted Ryan Tannehill, and the threat of the vertical route was in play. That stretches the field. That opens up. The windows are bigger now. Yep. So, and it open
the running lanes for Derrick Henry.
They exactly open up running lanes for him as well. So, I mean, I don't get why this guy is why he's up here defending this Mariota comparison again. It starts with their ethnicity and ends there, in my opinion, their comparison, bro.
Yeah, if I had to make a comparison with Marcus Mariota, the first player that comes to my mind is Seneca Wallace. If I was to make a Mariota comparison, it's Seneca Wallace.
Very fair comparison, bro.
Yeah.
Very, very.
I thought you were going to say Byron.
Very fair.
No, Byron Leftwich can't move.
No. No.
Byron Leftwich can't move.
And Byron Leftwich had a bazooka for an arm.
Yeah, he just sat there. All he did was just sit there. The guy man, if you got a rush on that guy, it was a wrap. Whether it's in Jacksonville or Miami.
Also, a guy, as we saw in his college tape, playing on one leg. I mean,
buddy,
that guy.
Hold on a sec. Not only did he play on one leg, this guy almost beat a top 10 that LSU team is easily a top 10 team ever. And in college, and he almost beat them on one leg.
Yep.
With a first half where Alabama also couldn't run the football.
Yeah, and also just to be clear, if you want a stereotype, Samoan quarterbacks, Marcus Tuiasosopo would be a much better stereotype than Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Marcus Tuiasosopo. Wow. Yeah. You going back a little bit, huh? I see you, Havoc. I see you, homie.
Bro.
Wow, that's funny.
I'm new to this. I'm true to this. Come on
now. Yeah, let's go through just some final.
I see you.
I only wanted to go for an hour. We're at about an hour 35. I got to go put my kid down. You guys got any final thoughts you want to go over? Let's start with you, Em.
Yeah, man, I'm concerned about this, about Devon Godchaux. Hopefully, again, like I said earlier, this is not prolonged because, man, if he misses extensive time, bro, into the season, knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But if he is not on this, if he's not in play week 1, that's a major, major concern for the interior of this defense. Again, 32nd, last in the league last year in run defense. And I know we made significant upgrades at the edge and on the interior, but still, you still have to have that anchor in our base, still have to have that anchor in the middle of this defense to keep these linebackers clean as much as possible. So, because you don't want to make a habit of, I don't care what linebacker it is, you don't want to make a habit of linebackers having to consistently take on 320-plus pound guards or centers pulling, in the middle of the field. You don't want to make a habit of that. You want to keep your linebackers as clean as possible. So hopefully it's not prolonged. Hopefully it's nothing serious in terms of impacting his health. That should be priority. But yeah, man, hopefully he comes back and but yeah, other than that, bro, y'all know what it is. Appreciate everybody again, as always. Appreciate you too, homie. Benedict. Appreciate you as always, Arnold. And all
mad.
Day, every day.
You mad because Hollins ain't emailed you that coupon yet for Wingstop. He's gonna give me the employee discount, homie. Don't even worry about it.
I hear you.
Sees what you're doing on the screen.
I hear you. I hear you.
I'll just close with, the wide receiver battle was already interesting. And now with the possibility of some of our UDFAs having an even stronger shot of not just making the team, but making an impact, that's definitely a position I'm very interested in. I know we're not going to be getting daily reports or anything like that, but I'm interested to see, eventually when Flores updates us on the status of, certain positions on the team, to see how he feels about the wide receiver position. Other than that, it's Fins up all day. You already know what it is.
Every day.
Okay.
My bad.
Yeah. So guys, I'm going to, I guess tomorrow, because tomorrow is the final day for opt-out. If something breaks, we'll probably do another quick one. Or we might go live at night for a full show. I don't know. Yeah, man. So with Godchaux on the COVID list and Alan Hearns and Albert Wilson now opted out, Benito Jones, Raekwon Davis, Kirk Merritt, Matt Cole, a lot of these UDFAs, it's time to step up and actually see what you got.
Absolutely.
So, guys, we appreciate you for taking an hour and a half of your time. Before we get out of here, I want to shout out our patrons, because I do every show, our 9 patrons. So we got Infinite Trauma and Rhino Smith, our inaugural patrons. We got Fake Spike 94, Shake Money, Joe B, KA All Day, Ramon Casillas, Seth, and of course Mr. 2 Bits. So we got 9 total. I want to let y'all know we appreciate each and every one of you, and keep sending those messages. Fake Spike, I did get your message today. And I know KA All Day did suggest some a pretty good show topic. So it's we got that on the docket. Don't worry, KA. But other than that, guys, if you want to make a donation, obviously you can in the super chat right now while this is still live. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Helps the algorithm and the subscriptions. Of course, we're on our way to 2K. And then if you'd like to donate without becoming a patron or without doing the super chat, paypal.me/Phinside is how you can do that. And of course, like I just mentioned, become a Phinside the NFL patron, and www.patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. Again, guys, I appreciate everyone for spending a little bit of your afternoon with us. We'll see you guys one way or another probably tomorrow. But until then, Fins up all day, every day, guys.